Well, there's a familiar pain. Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Marco Asensio, a January signing reinforcement, getting all 3 points for the Villains at home in the Premier League. Against Chelsea, Chelsea could have gone 7 points clear of them, and now we're 1 point clear of Aston Villa. Villa very much back in the Champions League race, courtesy of Chelsea Football Club. And probably were worth a draw in this game, I'd say, Chelsea. The goalkeeper had an absolute shocker for the winner. The ball went through him. And guys, Chelsea Football Club don't have a single goalkeeper between how many we've got. My word, Jorgensen's biggest asset for a long time now has been not being Rob Sanchez, which pretty much tells you where we are. We went ahead with Enzo Fernandez, but 2 second half goals from Asensio sealed the deal, really. And of course, there's big talking points from this game. Essentially, I was really pleased pre-kickoff and indeed ultimately in the first half because we changed the tactics. Enzo Maresca changed the formation as well as the tactics. And I've been saying after these 2 Brighton results that really left me crestfallen. I just can't see a way out because I thought he was going to keep dogmatically playing the exact same way. And I said, look, the only way we sort this out, in the absence of a Nico Jackson who presses well, who sets up the attack well, who links up with Cole Palmer well. And I tell you what, that is an undervalued commodity when you look at the lack of chemistry between the likes of Christopher Nkunku and Cole Palmer. I'm not going to share Sofa Score screen today because actually I've had some weird bug on my OBS, but all the Chelsea attackers bar Christopher Nkunku had a really high rating. But ultimately, this was going to be super tough, guys. This was going to be super tough because I know they played midweek, but it was a home game, so they didn't travel. They had momentum against, top of the table Liverpool. And actually, guys, Aston Villa have only lost once at home this season in the Premier League, and that was to at the time, very good Arsenal side. So any result here would have actually been massive for Chelsea, who obviously we are in really poor form as things stand. As things stand, we are still level on points with 5th, which of course is a Champions League place, 1 ahead of 7th, which is now Aston Villa behind us. Of course, Newcastle are yet to play, who could push us all down a little bit further. We had so many good noises out of Maresca, and I was ready to feel good again. This is the really frustrating thing because Maresca was saying all the right things in the pre-match press conference. He's changed his tactics, he's changed his approach, and we went ahead. Look, so let's talk about it then. Of course, look, Aston Villa, amazing record at home. A plethora of functional attacking talent. Martinez in goal, Konsa and Mings centre-backs, Martin, Matty Cash full-backs, John McGinn, Tielemans, these are all really settled. Good, great players settled in, Emery's attack. But the attackers that featured, Jacob Ramsey, who is amazing. He was like the Rodgers of last season or whatever it was. He and Rodgers, starting on the wings, Asensio behind Watkins, and bringing on the likes of Marcus Rashford, Leon Bailey, and Daniel Malon, of course, of Dortmund recently. Just a plethora of an incredible attacking talent. And of course, Marcus Rashford really making the difference off the bench, getting both the assists for Marco Asensio. Which, this will be a big headline. The difference between Aston Villa and Chelsea today was the January transfer market. And that genuinely is the difference, is the difference. They brought in 2 players on loan and they both linked up for both goals. Had they not brought those players on loan, we win this game 1-0 maybe. Or at least, maybe we draw because we don't have a hologram in goal. So we're going to talk about the Chelsea. Look, again, Villa, amazing lineup, amazing attackers deserve all credit. You know, what a coach as well. Unai Emery, what amazing work he's done with them. It was a pretty even game, guys. Across the whole match, it was 52% possession to the home team to 48%, so pretty much down the middle for possession. Expected goals, both was pretty high. Theirs was 2.5, Chelsea was 2.12, so pretty high. They had 12 shots to our 15, and then more goalkeeper saved. It was actually really even statistically. If you look at the stats, it was a moments game that was going to, you know, be the difference. And I'm looking here at the stats again. We're the stronger first half. They're the stronger second half. But they were a team, and they are a team that also is fallible to scoring, conceding late goals. But Chelsea aren't a team that grows into games in the second half. We fade, if anything. So the headlines before kickoff was the formation change. Of course, Jorgensen in goal. We'll speak a bit more about him. Colwill partnering Chalobah as a centre-back partnership. Chalobah did come off relatively early and Tosin came on. But, you know, right-sided, right-footed centre-backs and then Colwill as a left-footer. We did think Colwill would come back in, didn't we? Caicedo... so it was a 4-3-3. This is really, really interesting. I'm looking at the heat maps, confirming my suspicions. Yes, Caicedo was at the base of a midfield three. Reece James, really interestingly, played as a right number 8. And Enzo Fernandez played as a left number 8. So Cucurella was a conventional left back and Gusto was a conventional right back outside the centre backs. Now, it was a little bit asymmetrical in the sense of Gusto got forward more than Cucurella, but there was no inversion from either of them, no inverting fullbacks, and it was a midfield free of Caicedo sitting, flanked by number 8s in Fernandez and Reece James. And the front three consisted of Nkunku on the left, which was a very frustrating and upsetting situation. Pedro Neto playing as a false 9, which we'll discuss in a moment. And Palmer moving over to the right, where we've seen him before, who had a frustrating game. Not his best position for me. I think you want him as central as possible to have more shooting opportunities. But needs must. And actually, from the manager, apart from maybe playing Nkunku left wing, probably just knowing this guy can score really well, finish chances really well. But this guy just lacks... look, to Nkunku's credit, I think he was serviceable in the first half, but I think he's just not a left winger. He's got no chemistry whatsoever with Cole Palmer, who's creator-in-chief. And to be honest, bro, Nkunku doesn't have chemistry with anyone in this team. We saw substitute appearances, a couple. The rest, we had lots of kids on the bench. I'm not going to have a go at Maresca for only making 2 changes because, you know, you can bring on Shin Mweka, you can bring on Tariq George or whatever, but I get it. Like, we were in this game the whole time. And it was a very evenly poised game, and it's not like we had some like obvious game changer on the bench in what is a very hard away fixture. So Sancho came on late on for an Nkunku who had just been hooked, and Nkunku playing out of position on the left wing. And Tosin obviously came in very early for an injured Chalobah. Oh man. Subscribe, guys, by the way. A little reminder if you enjoy my content. I know there's been miserable days of late, but if you want to subscribe, you're welcome to, and I'll thank you always for hitting the bell and liking the video, etc. So let's talk you through the game. Of course, we score in the 9th minute. Exceptional movement from Pedro Neto, assisting an Enzo Fernandez finish, just right place, right time, and like, you know, a couple of yards out. But I love that. It's prime Barclays, those kind of goals. And to be honest, not just for the first 9 minutes when we went ahead and scored this goal, but maybe like the first 15, 20 minutes. False 9, Pedro Neto's movement was exceptional in the box, and that of what I haven't seen for a while. Of course, very different to like a Jackson, who like holds, he's a bit stronger and taller and makes sort of more vertical runs. Pedro Neto was sort of flying around horizontally almost, but they couldn't pick him up. It was really, really good. And yes, for a little while, you look really, really good. Certainly, infinitely more effective than when Nkunku played there. And we'll talk about is Nkunku's best position on the bench. I have a feeling, I know what a lot of you guys are going to say. It was an even first half, but we had the better first half, in fact. We had more of the ball, marginally, and we had twice as many XG, created 2 big chances. Probably should have scored a couple of goals. Had 9 shots to their 5 as well. But the second half, we see Rashford come on for Ramsey on the left, and Rashford probably is the difference maker. He unlocked Asensio. They scored in the 57th minute. It was kind of like poor defending from us, but ultimately, finished well from Asensio. There was a VAR analysis for offside, and it was so obviously onside. I don't know what the ruddy heck these men are doing in the VAR room. Like, I can see this is obviously going to stand, so why are you making me waste my time? And no one wants to see. Villa fans don't want to see that. Chelsea fans don't want to see that. Football fans do not want to see that kind of pointless time wasting. More changes. Bogard comes up from Mings, Garcia for Cash, who were both struggling in the first half of injury. And then we see Nkunku get booked. Petulance. He's been poor. He's been not making the runs that Palmer wants him to. He does a sort of petulant foul, gets booked and comes off. And that's, when Sancho's getting stripped to replace him. Couple more changes, and again, Leon Bailey and Marlon coming on, to join the likes of Asensio and Rashford. They've got, immense quality. Caicedo's getting booked for dumb arguments, and Rashford just causing all kinds of trouble down the left-hand side, creating another chance for Asensio. The ball comes out to Asensio, hits it hard, and it's a goalkeeping error for me. It goes right through Jorgensen, and it's very, very frustrating because a draw would have been a good result because, of course, I'm sure you guys have seen Bournemouth lost, Fulham lost, I mean, Arsenal lost, but that's more of a banter enjoyment thing because we're not in any forms of race with them. But certainly Fulham, who are, resurgent, and Bournemouth losing massive for Chelsea. And just a draw away at Villa ahead of 2 home games against 19th place and 20th place would have actually been a good result. A draw, considering they've only lost once at home all season, and that was to, at the time, a very good Arsenal team. Yeah, I would have been okay with a draw, a formation change, just to sort of, not be leaking loads of goals. And it's so disappointing that Jorgensen, did that. So let's talk about player performances a little bit. What can I say about Philip Jorgensen? He made a few saves, but it kind of means nothing when you turn into a hologram, He made 4 saves in the game. 2 out of 11 long balls. It's not like his passing was great. It was eminently, I don't want to completely slag him off here, but to have those moments, in a team that's fragile, a young developing team still that you just need a big boy striker and a big boy goalkeeper. How much can we continue saying this? Jorgensen is just so meh, and like I said earlier in the video, his biggest asset has just not been Rob Sanchez, and that is pretty rough. Gusto, I think Gusto didn't necessarily have the best game, but what I do think about Gusto is he was playing in his right position. He, of course, didn't invert into midfield. He completed 4 out of 4 long balls, so his long passing was accurate, 90% passing accuracy. He won 50% of his ground duels for a flying fullback. That's fine. But yeah, he did also make some errors, and we didn't. But I think maybe it's probably because we've been playing him out of position for so long that muscle memory's gone. The centre backs were okay. I think Tosin made an error. I think they were because you got to judge this in context with how good the team is, who's doing the biggest howlers. I don't think the centre backs were bad. I think they're pretty average, both of them. But I don't think they were, obviously weren't good, but I don't think they're very bad. Cucurella, sort of serviceable, playing more as a reserved fullback, won the majority of his ground duels, had 95% passing accuracy, but yeah, didn't really do that much, but it's kind of fine, very serviceable. Caicedo in midfield I thought was good, personally, 89% passing accuracy, but he was sort of all action out of possession. He did only win 50% of his ground duels, which is minimum for a player like him, which he'll feel frustrated by. But yeah, I think he was okay. Reece James, of course, playing out of position as a right number 8. I liked it. I think he grew into the game, then faded again. He had 95% passing accuracy, 100% long balls, 4 out of 4, like Gusto, actually. Now, he completed one dribble, attempted one dribble, completed it, didn't lose possession that much. But what I don't like is for a guy like him, who was predominantly a defender, he only won 3 out of 7 ground duels, Reece James. So I want to see a bit more from him there. Very pleased with Enzo Fernandez. Obviously quite hot-headed, but he got a goal. He got 2 key passes. He completed the majority of his long balls. He probably could have had 2 or 3 goals in the first half. Not that, the 2 chances that he missed after his goal weren't gilt edged, but they were, maybe he would have been good for another goal in there. He also won very little, nearly only 25% of his ground duels, which you expect better from him, but he's playing more of an attacking role. But, a goal and 2 key passes, crashed the box a lot, leadership, did a tactical foul when he thought he needed to. So we'll end on Nkunku. Cole Palmer, playing out on the right wing, did make 2 key passes, which is, good from a winger, now Cole Palmer won 5 out of 6 ground duels, which is much better than everyone else. What's that? It's like 85%, is it? Maybe? No, something. Anyway, you do the math. Much better than any defensive player, and Cole Palmer's an attacker, so he did his doggies, he did the work as a winger, didn't lose possession that much, 2 out of 3 dribbles, 2 key passes, pretty good performance. It looked pretty frustrating on the eye because he was trying to play balls into Nkunku, who was making incorrect runs. Palmer took a couple of shots himself that he would have backed himself to do better on, at least one of them, and score maybe. But he certainly wasn't the problem in this game, and looks like he still could have been the solution. Neto, I really did like, actually. His touch map is all over the gaff, very much a false 9. He got the assist for the goal, hit a couple of shots on target, and he made 4 key passes. Yeah? 4 key passes from false 9. So this actually, from Pedro Neto, was almost like, 2018 Roberto Firmino for Liverpool or something. That proper little diminutive sort of wingery player playing as a false 9. Actually, really good. Looked, like I said, infinitely better. It looked infinitely better than Nkunku playing at number 9, which leaves us with Nkunku. Look, he completed 100% of his passes, 23 of them. A lot of them were far too safe. He did make 2 key passes, like Cole Palmer. Yeah. Oh wait, did Cole Palmer make 2, or did he make? Yeah, 2. 2 also. But he just looks like he's not meant to be in this team. Yeah. He won 25% of his dribbles. He just doesn't look like he fits in. He's clearly a very good footballer, Christopher Nkunku. And I do think he was revitalised in the first half in terms of that application, that trying. Obviously, Mares is saying he's an important player for us. He's always been, even when he's not playing. And he's probably thought, right, and we scored the goal very early and they were all celebrated together, the team. And he probably thought, right, I can be a part of this. Even if I'm gone in the summer, like, we can do something here and I can be a part of it and whatever. But he just, Palmer got very frustrated with him on a couple of occasions, playing the ball out, and he just, he just doesn't look like he fits, at all. At all. He doesn't look like he fits. And that is what it is. It's a shame because he's an amazing player and I will die on that hill. This is the guy who scored a hat-trick away at the Etihad in the Champions League for Man City. He's, he scored the golden boot in the Bundesliga despite being injured for 2 or 3 months, and he is a great footballer. He should be starting for France, maybe. I guess, well, maybe not with the Barcola and Dembele at the moment. But do you know what I mean? He's a great player, and it is a shame. And clearly, he just doesn't fit, and it's just a bit of a disaster now. And even I think Jadon Sancho starts over him, obviously, on the left, but even like a Tyreek George could have offered so much more, made the runs, done better 1v1s. And I think that's got to be a moment where you just don't start Nkunku. You bring him off the bench in a position where you're winning. You give him token minutes. And if he scores in token minutes, you don't give him, good minutes off the bench, but you just don't start him for me. Or just, you do, but it's in the Conference League. That's it for me. Look. It could have been worse. I know that's just such a lame thing to say, but watching how we'd been playing the last 2 games, I was expecting it to be like, I said on my Instagram earlier that I'm worried it's going to be bad. And it wasn't bad. It was like a really even game. And it was, to be honest, guys, it was an awful moment from the goalkeeper that stopped us from getting a creditable draw that would have actually seen us capitalise on other teams dropping points. Look, we have got a couple of really good fixtures coming up. If we keep this formation, or maybe momentum from these home games, get a good feeling from the home games, get Palmer scoring again, we will see. Let me know what you think. I imagine everyone's pretty miserable about this, rightly so. But interesting talking points, of course. I look forward to like the post-game analysis from other, like podcasts, YouTube channels, social media and stuff. So let me know what you think. Thank you for joining me. Hope to see you back here soon. Peace.